Hello, good day, everybody. This is Craig here. I'm going to be working on this painting right here. You can kind of see it up in the top left corner. Um, this is just kind of a made up scene I thought up, and right now, I don't think I streamed this one or recorded this one before, so this is really in the later stages, so I'm just adding detail and showing that process. So sit back, relax, hope you enjoy, and thanks for watching. So let me get a zoom out. Here is the entire image that I've created. See all the layers over here. I'm doing a little bit different. I'm adding a few overlay layers and soft layers to achieve this detail. So if you see me switching layers, that's what I'm doing right now. But right now I'm working on the main layer, and if I can't get the right amount of detail, I go into the layers above it. So it's just sort of a process, yeah. So, and it's really, sort of time consuming, but it's, for me, this is sort of the fun part, getting to add all this detail in here. Since I'm using the oil paint brush right now, and I have 31% or 31 opacity on it, so I usually have to do multiple strokes to get, like, if I want a darker value on it, I'll have to, keep moving the pen to get it a really darker shade or value, kind of like what I'm doing right here. So. So where the cursor is right here, since this is kind of touching this part, the two, I don't know what you would call this, mushy kind of ground texture, that would be dark. Since this is away from it, it'll be lighter. And then you have this edge lighting, or this edge dark value right here. So that would be darker. But it's just like when you learn values and stuff, they have the sphere. It's the same principle. You just apply it to different shapes. So it's lighter in this area because it's getting the reflective part from back. It's like hitting this and then going back, if that makes sense. I may not be able to explain it effectively as some other people, but you can go over here and then add just a little bit. You don't want to add too much detail in there because it's dark, so you're just not going to be able to see as much. Should be more detail like in this area. Where there's definitely more light. So more light, more detail. Just the rules. And I'm definitely not perfect at this, so there's always going to be mistakes. And here, I'm not raising the values too much. I don't want it to sharply go up where I'm lighting it too much. Yeah, so right now I'm just focused on this object here, this squishy, alien-looking piece of, I don't know, ground. So let's go up a layer, and this is a darker layer, so you can see it's just an overlay layer, but you can see it's adds more detail, more sharpness, I would say. So the layer under, it's the base layer, then I have an overlay layer, then a soft light layer. It's always good to experiment with these different lighting layers and blending layers, and see whatever works for you. There's no correct way to do this. It's just, however you get it done as efficiently as you can and good quality. I'm going to be doing some traditional stuff along with the digital. I'm going to be doing some plein air painting. I find that really fun. So look out for that if you're into that. And it's just going to be local areas. I'm not doing anything too crazy. Okay. Sorry. So like I said, I'm using the oil paint brush really this whole time. Sometimes I'll switch up to the thin gouache brush, or I don't use the round mixing brush too much. It's a little bit, has no texture, but it's good to get some like flat color on there. Also, you know, this might be too time consuming if you're on a tight time constraint. Unless you're like super fast. But this is like personal work, so it doesn't matter. I can take as many hours as I need to finish this. And you can kind of see I'm adding like these droopy parts here. It's like animal skin or something. Let's drop down, and then we can add some like mid-tone values. And all of this, you know, that I'm showing you, it's the way I do it. You can do it a different way. You know, that doesn't mean it's the right way to do it. I'm just showing how I do it. You can take whatever you can and apply. There's so many different ways to do this. But I dropped down to the base layer. So like I said, this is three layers. Ground, I have layer, I should probably label these better, but layer 3 and then 2 on the right here. So right now I'm back onto like the base layer. Probably I'm doing, this is awful layer management, but it's just like me plein air painting the other day outside. It was hot, it was windy, there was bug, but in the end you get it done. You know, it was uncomfortable, but I still had like a ton of fun. And honestly, I think it's gonna help with when I go back into the studio painting, because being in an air-conditioned room is like a piece of cake. So this is looking quite decent. Now let's go up to this soft light layer. Increase the value. So this is gonna add like, it's not gonna be, I'd say this is more like if you're a traditional painter, like adding zinc white instead of titanium white, if that makes sense. So Let's go a little bit up here. And honestly, this part is like looking way more detailed than everything around it. So I'm gonna fix that is I'm gonna have to increase the detail around it. Like right here, this ridge. So just gonna go back. And like I said earlier, I basically have unlimited time to do this, so it's just pushing to see how much detail I can achieve. Go up a layer. As you can see, let's just focus in this small section. So I got these like ridges. It's almost like fleshy looking in a way. But then it's supposed to be okay. So just kind of be patient here. It's saving. It's going to take a minute or two. But so I was talking about plein air. This is what I worked on the other day. You can see it. This is a wood panel oil. So you can see it's a lake. There's lily pads. It's kind of interesting, and I didn't perfectly get it, but you can see the top left corner. There's the part of the tree. You got the sky and the clouds. It's not bad looking. I did it probably 2.5 hours, I'd say. And then it started to get windy. So I had to leave. I'd like to do definitely more of this. So the reason why this is taking forever is because I have it recording the whole process, so the file is probably in the gigs right now. And honestly, probably should turn that off. Alright, back to... So let's get in here. So obviously you can see the cursor there, and it's going to be dark where two sections are meeting. So that's what I'm trying to, you know, this really doesn't have I don't know, a defining shape. It's just sort of stuff that I made up. So there really isn't a whole lot of rules to it, but I still gotta follow, you know, the principles. It's almost like gloobity glop, you know. Alright, look. Down here is interesting. So it's dark, so I shouldn't add too much detail down here, because the whole area is in shade. So I just do want to make the edges a little bit sharp. You know, it's like lifting off the ground, this piece right here. It almost looks like a earthworm. It's almost alive. Yeah, and you know, you're gonna see me zooming in and out. I'm taking a look at the whole picture as a whole. I'm sorry if that's annoying, but so just like here. Now this edge work. Excuse me. Alright, got a little uninterrupted. Let's continue this. Alright, so I'm on this piece right here. Trying to make sure it's not overwhelming. Drop down to that layer. Yeah, the way this behaves, like the oil paint, it really works like oil paint. You know, if it's wet, sometimes it's just hard to bring the values up and down. So you almost have to let it dry to go over it again. That's why something like plein air can be tricky. You almost have to, you really have to get your colors down before you apply it, because it's just, layering is a little bit tougher because it's just wet on wet. Alright, so I'm going to this bottom layer. You know, just using a lighter value, and I wouldn't say I'm randomly placing marks, but that's what it kind of looks like. Go up here, a bit darker. I like this. Let me go back down. I like this blue that I have in here. Keep that. kind of gives it a otherworldly look. Alright, so back on the base layer, and right now I'm working within 3 layers. Just really jumping back and forth. One thing to note about my art, or I guess the subject, is I jump around a lot. Like, I'll do more dark, grim kind of art sometimes, and then, you know, with this, I'll, you know, try to do nice outside art, or, you know, more real life stuff. You know, I bounce back and forth. So if you see, you know, on my channel, it's a lot of random stuff. So that's just how I liked it. Alright, let's go back up here. Some water. So I'll be on like another 15 minutes doing this. I just wanted to show you how I work with details. And just, if you want to see more of this, like, subscribe, so I can try to do this full time. That's the goal. So, back to reiterate, I have a base layer. Now, you want to work within the base layer. Like I said, no right way to do it, but I like to work in the base layer mostly, and then I have 2, like a dark overlay layer and then a soft light layer for like highlights and stuff. That's how I do it. If it doesn't work for you, you know, that's okay. So let's get a little bit down in here. So I want this to be like it's pooling something. Like this piece up here is like connected, but they're like stretched, like rubber bands between. Like it can't completely pull apart. So I want this like stretched look. You know, have this right here. This is kind of interesting. This like round part. Drop back down to the base layer, especially when I see when things when I'm able to drop down, I will. Interesting shapes in here that just drop back up to top middle layer, I guess you could say. And there's something, it's very subtle, but like this right here, I kind of like that, what I was doing up here on this top part. I'd like to pull some of that down. A lot of this is just so subtle. It's almost like, is anybody going to zoom in into this much detail? Yeah, so this adds almost like a horizontal texture to it. And also this is good because it's sort of non-destructive. So what I mean by that is I can, if I don't like something, I can isolate on this layer and delete instead of like actually going onto the main layer and erasing things. So it's good in that way, you know, just working with layers in general. You don't like the color, if you have it on a separate layer, it's easy to fix, or you're, you know, doing a commission or something, working on, and if you really look at it, or the pressure that I'm putting down is very light. I'm not pushing really hard. I'm sort of just glazing it on there. You know, this area looks really good, I think. But like I said, it's time consuming, and if you're under time constraints, it might be a little tough. To like put this much detail into it. Yeah, like if somebody needs something in like 2 or 3 days ASAP, this would be a challenge. Of course, you could probably do it, but you would be working a lot of hours. So drop down to the main layer, and I would call this layer almost like midtones. The top layer is dark values, and then the soft light is almost like highlights. Not quite highlights, but almost like highlights. And highlights would be something along the lines of up here, where you know it's like it's almost wet and the light is hitting it, so it gives you that white speckled look. And 3D art, that's like specular. They call that specular. So I like this like entangled part here. And so this is like the end stage of this drawing. So obviously it went through a lot of changes in the earlier. I started it like how it looks right now, and then I expanded it because I wanted it to be this big scene, and I was like, no, that's too much. So then I went back to the original stage, and I've just kind of worked it until you see what we have right here. Sometimes you just gotta keep pushing through and play around with, you know, canvas shape and the color. I didn't even have this color. It's just, and now I'm like, okay, I'm pretty happy with this piece. So back to, kind of interested in this part right here. And this is like very, saving again, sorry. This section, it's very, this whole, I guess, video would be like just a micro spot of the entire painting. But I'm going to end this video here. Just kind of give you an idea of what I've been working, how I achieve the detail. It's how I work, and sometimes it can take forever. So I'm just kind of warning you on that. But just hope you liked the video, and I'll definitely be uploading more. So